What's going on, people? Welcome back to Nick J. Francis' channel once again. Arsenal nil, Manchester City nil. Just watched the game. We just drew. People will say it was a boring game. It was in spells. There wasn't a lot of goal action necessarily, but I think the game was really, really fascinating. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there breaking down all of the details. I just wanted to give my quick, immediate reaction without going into too much detail. I personally think that was a very, very good draw for Arsenal. We had opportunities to win the game, 100%. We had opportunities that we should have done better. We're looking at the Trossard late, should have squared the ball over to Martinelli. Maybe we've got an easy goal there. But at the same time, Man City also had a lot of opportunities, a lot of crosses. And I think defensively, we were very, very solid today. So I think we can hold our heads up high. I think the reason we're going to be on the receiving end of banter, the reason that people are going to make it seem like an L for us this weekend is obviously because we're no longer at the top of the table. Liverpool beat, I think it was Luton, 2-1. Who they play? Brighton. It wasn't Luton, it was Brighton because we play Brighton next. Liverpool beat Brighton 2-1. And it looks like an L for us right now, but I still feel very positive, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, people are going to banter us for not winning. But when we went into this game, no one really believed that we were going to beat Man City at the Etihad. No one has won there all season. And we are still unbeaten. We've played Man City twice now in the league. We beat them 1-0 at our ground, and we've drawn with them 0-0. It's the first time in God knows how many years that we've taken 4 points away from Man City in the league, and they have not been able to really land a glove on us. Similarly to Liverpool, it's an unbelievable Liverpool team that have recently won Champions League, Premier League. The 8 years that Klopp's been there, they've had some good success, and they haven't been able to beat us at all in the league this season. They did beat us in the FA Cup, but in the league, we're unbeaten against the top two, other than ourselves, obviously. So Liverpool go a point above us, and we are into the last 8-9 games of the season. I think it's game week 30, but I think that's our 29th game. So we've got under 10 games left. And I think that we are actually in a very good position. No, we're not at the top of the table. And we've all got similar runs. I think ours might be slightly tougher, but I'll tell you what, we can take huge amounts of credit from this game. We have a couple of big away days. We've got away day at Man United, who are looking not the best at the moment towards the end of the season. We have away day with Spurs, who look very beatable as well. And if we can go to grounds like the Etihad, if we can go to grounds like Anfield, and we can get draws there, draws should really be the minimum expectation for when we're going to Manchester United and Tottenham, who are not in that conversation. They're in and around, they're fighting for top four, but they're not at that real top echelon. So I do think that a lot of this team will take a lot of positives from this. Do you know what I mean? Even though the result in itself wasn't super positive, let's to put things into context. This same fixture last year we played and we lost 4-0. We got smoked at the Etihad Stadium against Man City just 1 year ago, and here we are. One of the key differences is Saliba, who Gary Neville gave man of the match. Declan Rice, we had no Declan Rice, we had no Kai Havertz, and we'll get into that now. Actually, I think that the way that we set up for this game, I think it was good. I think it made sense. We started off really slow. We looked a little bit shaky. We did still look like we were playing the occasion a little bit. I thought Jorginho may be underrated, but I thought he was quite good today. But some of our big players, Saka had a quiet game, looked like he was carrying a bit of an injury. And slowly as the game went on, we built our confidence. It seemed like Man City were starting to throw everything they had at us, the best possible attacks they had. Kevin De Bruyne putting balls into the box towards Haaland. It's been such a crucial and such a clinical, I guess, partnership. Lots of assists from Kevin De Bruyne and leading to lots of goals for Haaland. And they were doing that a lot, and it just wasn't working. We were very, very defensively sound. I think Kivior did struggle with Bernardo Silva. And listen, Bernardo Silva, I think, is one of the most underrated players in the last 5-10 years in the Premier League. He's insane. He's in a team of superstars, but doesn't always get his flowers. But I think, for me, I think he's above a Foden, in my opinion. He can play. He's so versatile, and I think he's insane. So Kivior did struggle. And as the game progressed, I started to feel more and more relaxed. And as I felt more relaxed, the team seemed to feel more relaxed as well. Getting to half-time and not conceding a goal against Manchester City at the Etihad gave that team huge confidence. They then started, first 5-10 minutes of the second half, they were flying, really aggressive. And straight away, similarly to what we did with Newcastle, we matched that aggression. They were aggressive, flying into challenges, and normally we would shrink away when we had a Rob Holding in there. Not to disrespect Rob Holding, but when we had certain other players in there that were not at this level, and teams started to get aggressive and get physical, we would shy away from that battle. And what we did today was step up and meet fire with fire. And that was really helped to be honest, by the fact that we had a referee who was letting the game flow and letting a lot of challenges go. The only yellow card, he gave a couple of yellow cards, but mostly for kind of time wasting and things like that. Not really many yellow cards given for challenges or for fouls for both sides, and that allowed both teams to really be aggressive and let the game flow. So I did really appreciate that, and I think that probably benefited us a little bit more, given that Man City have the ability to do that, whereas us playing that type of game is still pretty new to us as a team. But that's definitely the evolution of this team. We can play boring, we can play aggressive, we can play flary football. And when we got the 1-0 against Man City at our ground, it was a pretty boring game, and we knew that we would probably have to make it boring again in order to get a result there, and that's what we did. And I know I'm saying a result and it was a draw, but like I say, going to the Etihad and coming away with a point, I think is not a bad shout whatsoever. In terms of Arteta and the way that we set up, I thought it made sense. I did think that the substitutions were good. But when I say I think they were good, they weren't effective in the end. But when he was making them, at the time he was making them, I thought made sense. You know, getting Jesus off when he was on a yellow card, and he seemed to be right on the edge of getting another one. That made sense to me. The Jorginho for Thomas Partey one maybe made a little bit less sense. Getting Kivior off for Tomiyasu, I think that made sense to me a lot as well. And then getting Trossard and Martinelli as well, to bring in some fresh legs. And I think that substitution is the one I really thought would make the big difference. I think a lot of us thought Martinelli would come off the bench, light it up, and he nearly did a couple of times, to be fair to him. But the passing today was awful, absolutely awful. Martin Odegaard was solid in his overall performance in terms of challenging, defensively, pressing, but the passing was terrible. You could see Man City were pressing us very, very quickly. They were very, very quick and very aggressive to get the ball back, and we were flustered under that pressure. So a lot of real just kicking the ball anywhere and just getting it away from the goal, and a lot of that PTSD from last year's 4-0. You could see it. You know, teams, especially Gabriel, and especially the players that were part of that thrashing last year, just wanted to smash the ball away. And I think it is good that we've got quite a few new players, including Raya. I think Jorginho was playing that game, but Raya, Rice, you know, some of those players that I mentioned already, you know, that just bring a bit of freshness about them. The difficulty that we had with the substitutions was that you could see a lot of those guys coming off the bench were not fit. Tomiyasu didn't look quite sharp. Partey really didn't look sharp. Martinelli clearly doesn't look fully fit either. So that was a problem. But I think looking at what we've got to come off the bench now versus what we had to come off the bench a month ago, there's still no Fabio Vieira being used, who I think could be really, really important. There's still no Jurrien Timber. We're waiting for him to come back. There's still no Smith Rowe. Waiting for him to you know, he's always there, to be fair. He's not injured, but he's there to be used when the time, you know, when the time comes. So having all those players there, I think for me, gives me huge confidence going into the run-in. I know it seems silly to say because Liverpool have just gone top and we're now second, but I really do think that having all the pieces on the board to go for the run in the last 10 games is, you know, really in our favour. City have really struggled, to be fair. You know, when I say they struggled, they've been winning games. Of course, they're only third between a brilliant Liverpool and a brilliant Arsenal team, so there's no shame to them, but they're not the City of old. They're struggling to create chances. They give up a lot of chances. I think that's one of the big differences with this City team. They are giving up a lot of chances. You can see that teams are creating against them in ways that they wouldn't normally. And off the back of that, to double down on that, they've now got injuries to John Stones and Kyle Walker. So we'll see what they do. Liverpool have had a real injury-stricken season, but they've done really well. But they are really down to not quite bare bones of their squad, but they've got major injuries as well, and their performances are sort of up and down. I still think that Arsenal are probably in the best overall position, not in terms of the table. The best position on the table is, you know, miles and miles ahead in terms of points, but in terms of having our players coming back, in terms of us having a relatively fit squad, you know, in terms of us having our starting 11 be fit, we've got close to our perfect starting 11 all being fit. Plus, you know, if we have, I don't know, Jesus, Saka, Martinelli all fit, if we have Jorginho, Odegaard, Rice all fit, if we have Kivior, Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, and Raya, that's pretty much our starting 11 at this point. But then we have Tomiyasu, Partey, Fabio Vieira, Trossard, you know, all these players, Gabriel Jesus. We have all of these people there. Kai Havertz, I can't remember which one I said should start and which one comes off the bench. But if we've got all of those pieces there, I think that is enough to be tactically flexible enough and play enough different ways. And the form that we've been on, we haven't lost a game. We're still unbeaten in 2024. You know, and we're coming into April. It's the last day of March. We're coming into April now, and we're unbeaten in 2024. So for me, I think that we can take huge confidence from this weekend and say, you know what, the two biggest tests in terms of teams to be played, Manchester City and Liverpool, they're done. We've taken 4 points from both of them. They're done. We've taken 3 points from Manchester United already. We've taken a draw from Chelsea and Tottenham. So we haven't lost. We haven't lost at all against any of the other big six teams. So we should take huge confidence going into the rest of those games. For me, in my opinion, other people might disagree. You lot can let me know, but I think for us, we are in the best possible position in terms of squad fitness, in terms of style of football, in terms of all of those types of things to go on a real run and be confident. And hopefully the injury to Saka today wasn't anything too major. Again, he's coming off of international break where I know he didn't play, but still not having really the time to rest the way that he would normally like to rest, you know, when you've got a bit of an injury. But I really do think that actually we're in a brilliant position to go on and potentially win the league. So this doesn't dampen my spirits at all. To me, a draw was a minimum, and I think a win would have been like, I would have been over the moon. But how many people are really expecting us to go and win at the Etihad? Of course, these are the things that you need to do, but you know, we always knew that the odds were against us in that regard. So for me, it's not a bad result when I take those things into consideration. We've got to see what happens, but you know, I still think that we should be going on to win the Premier League this year. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know. I know other teams have easier runs and all the rest of it, but let me know what you think about this game. Let me know what you think about who's going to win the Premier League. It is all up for grabs. If one team slips, there's two other teams waiting for them. And boy, it's crazy right now. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Nick J. Francis, we're out. Peace.